Okay, guys. So today I'm here to talk to you about something, okay? It's one of a passion that I've been having for my whole life, and it's cars. I love cars. I've been loving cars for a while. I've followed NASCAR. I've also followed Formula One, and also follow any single car in my life. So I love them. And even though I was not the best student in my life, this is the first exam that I did approve at the first time, and with no problem at all. And it was my license. So I actually got my license the day of my 18th birthday. And that's why I have always loved to have a car. And my grandfather gave me him. So this is my first car. Sorry, it's a Renault, but it's my grandpa's fault, not mine. And I used this car for 3 years until it didn't work anymore. And it was the first time I could accomplish my dream of buying my first car. So this is the first car I have. I'm from Spain, so that's why this is a Seat. No, it's from a German company, so all good. And yeah, this is the car of my life. Okay, I knew my girlfriend. I went to my wedding on this car, and it's been like a dream for me. But someday we start thinking on having a better car to travel more and also in safety. So I bought the car of my dreams, okay? And this is really a good car. But now we are in another moment of my life, also my wife's, and also the ecosystem is changing, and we are all more worried about the emissions that we do to the world. So the car is for sale. So I could tell you that I doubt that anyone in this room is going to buy this car, right? I'm not going to decrease the price. So actually, I'm going to increase it a little bit of what I paid for them because it's incredible. So anyone wants to buy it? Okay, I don't think that that is real. So if you want to buy it, I come after the presentation. But the truth is, we are missing something here. Okay, and what are we missing? Contextualization. We are not in the context of understanding or selling a car. We are in an advertising event, and we are talking about advertising, not selling cars. So that's why we are missing a piece, and this piece is crucial for all our life decisions. We need to understand that for every single decision we make in our lives, we have a context that is allowing us to say yes or no. And what we are going to talk today is how did we evolve in our contextualization for advertising, and what do we see in the future from the Seedtag point of view. So first of all, I'm not going to tell you anything new. Okay, so we didn't invented the Contextual. So Contextual has been in our lives forever in advertising, and usually at the beginning when we're buying offline advertising, like in these newspapers or magazines, what you would do is, if you want to advertise something regarding automotive, you wouldn't buy gossip magazines. You would buy automotive magazines. After this, as every single industry in the world, when you want to go to digital, what you do is basically copy what you were doing in the offline to online. So first of all, we were starting buying verticals. So you go to a newspaper, now it's online, and you just buy advertising there. But the precision was not that good, and in some cases, you were just paying for inventory that was not relevant for your brand. So next step is, okay, let's try to find some keywords or even some sections within the publishers where the fit is going to be much better. So the context where you're seeing the ad is better. So we start evolving this. Then we introduce some first machine learning models. And then we started creating new technology, not only for advertising, but for the world, with natural language processing, computer vision, and more dedicated technologies that are able to understand much better the context. But when we are there and we know that all this is ready, we have a problem of reach. So the moment you get more precise, happen the same with or without contextual, you start to lose the reach that you need for your brand. So next step is try to understand all the contextualization from a more global point of view. So we introduced some years ago the network level analysis. And what we are going to speak today is, first of all, you need to understand LIS. Okay, so LIS is our AI system. It's not a model per se. It's not a technology itself. is just a way of summing up all different solutions that we can offer to our brands. So in LIS, you are going to see more than 45 different models working in more than 10 different languages and with the ability of adding up any new language in less than a month. We are using natural language processing for analyzing the text and the metadata, and we are also using computer vision to understand the images, because the images at the end is the first thing you look into a page. So you read the title, you see the image, and then if you are in the context of this article, you go inside the article to read it. So now that we know LIS, let's try to understand what Seedtag is building and how do we want to approach the full funnel solution for our brands. So at the end, we want to go from the upper way of the funnel where you can apply wider categories, IAB-aligned categories, and then go little by little into understanding the right people in the right context. So starting from the beginning, we have our IAB categories. So right now we have more than 700 different categories that are combining text and images. So we have what we call a page level analysis. And here again, we are going to take the text, we are going to take the metadata, we are going to take the images, and we are going to combine them. Even though the models behind it and the input that we have, where we are able to process more than 100 million URLs per day, we want to make it simple, okay? Both for reporting and targeting. We don't want to make it more complex than it is. Understanding a user without knowing the user is complex enough. So we don't want to make it worse. So we just sum this up in the really simple categories, understandable by anyone, and then we do targeting and reporting based on them. But we have been doing this for a while. So what's new? What is the future of the Contextual? How is this going to help our brands, and where we can see actually that we have a return? So then we need to jump into the next level, which is our network level analysis. Okay, and here we are going to start seeing some magic that would allow us to understand much better a network. So first of all, just imagine that we have been reading the whole web for the last almost 10 years, okay? 9 years and something. We know what's happening. We have been storing all the data, all the information, all the trends that we are finding, and now it's just, we cannot understand it, okay? So we are talking about billions of events per week, and it's impossible for a human brain to understand this deep enough. So what we are going to do is we are going to train some models so they can understand the relationship between some of this information. And doing this, what we can do is, for example, understand a competitor analysis, okay? So we are going to read the whole internet of Germany for a whole year, and we are going to understand some trends and also what is the relationship between the different brands. So if we, for example, want to show something, if we, for example, want to show Mercedes how the world is talking and reading about Mercedes, we can understand that there are several topics talking about them, like Formula One, like Hamilton, Championship, because they have been winning for the last years in Formula One. So we know that in the last years, everything related with Mercedes in the open web was talking about Formula One. And they have been doing really well, not only in winning, but also in their positioning online. And the last point I wanted to mention is, if you want Mercedes to understand what other competitors are doing to try to gain some traction in their market, we can, for example, understand that Tesla is much more positioned in the eco and the CO2 thing than Mercedes. So we could tell Mercedes that if they want to position themselves much more close to the future where everyone is worried about the global warming, we know how, okay? And we know what they need to target, and we are going to create them a strategy so they can position themselves, so people from a branding perspective are able to think, okay, instead of Tesla, electric, no contamination, okay, no. We want Mercedes to do so. So this is how are we approaching this network level analysis in order to allow brands to buy better. So instead of just buying categories, we can create something more custom for them, and not only for targeting, but also to understand. So the idea here is not only to buy in Seedtag. We are not here for that. we want to help them to use much better strategies and to help them in the transition from I'm doing only search strategies or I'm only doing cookie-based strategies to also open their eyes and see what can Contextual bring to their strategies. And once we have that, we also decided to create what we launched at the end of 22, which is what we call custom AI. So this is an unsupervised model that is able to understand what do you want to buy from internet. So again, the problem we saw is we cannot understand that well what is a briefing. And a briefing could be understandable by us, but you cannot compare every single URL in the world or every single user in the world if they are matching or not your targeting. And if you are telling, I want to target people from 25 to 30 years old, maybe they are not looking into Mercedes or into your car. So at the end, what we are doing here is creating models that are able to create tailored tailored audiences for a single brand. Let's put an example here. So imagine that we have a briefing coming from a brand and they are looking for people that are interested in moving into a car that are more with more security. They are not that into sport cars and so on. And what do we target online? It's difficult to answer, right? So what we are going to create here is a model that allows us to move from the first part I'm mentioning now to the next one. So first of all, what I would do is I will just create a couple of targetings, one targeting automotive and the other one family and parenting, because they are more or less related, right? Well, that's what I would think. But again, I'm not able to understand all this, the network in my mind. And you could find articles that are related enough to the briefing, and some others that, even though they are in the category, and I'm sure that they are well categorized from different models, it could be Seedtag or any other, but again, it's too wide. So in family and parenting, you might find people more interested in pets than in cars. And at the end, you are trying to sell a car. So you are losing money in that area. So what we are going to do is understanding the whole network, combining again text and images, we are able to see the real URLs that are interesting for your brand. And which is a typical thing we do when we don't have enough inventory or enough reach. We just include another category that is close enough if we are buying. Because we need the reach and we are expanding and we are losing the affinity. But we are losing the affinity without knowing how much. And usually we need to expand the reach. So I'm not here to tell you that we have the perfect solution to have a precision scale. No, we are going to expand it on a smarter way and comparing every single article in the web. So we are creating, for example, this custom AI category that is only getting all the articles that are close enough to a single briefing. So we are taking the briefing, we are doing some maths, really complicated, and it took a time. And with all these URLs, we are going to compare them against the briefing. And with this briefing, what we are doing is, first of all, we are creating a really tailored audience. But if we need to expand it or we need to reduce it, so imagine that I don't want to invest that much because I want to have the best precision that we can. Okay, we can expand it or we can even reduce it. And at the end, you are buying what you want to buy and you have control on the affinity. So you start playing with all of it. You start seeing if this custom category is bringing something to you. And from there, you buy what you need to buy. And this is the last point, and this is what we are creating right now. And this is something we are launching at the end of this week. And this is what we call first-party contextual expansion, okay, or first-party lookalike. This is something that we have been doing in cookies for a while, and it's really useful because at the end, you know your audience. Your audience is usually getting into your website, and you don't have a way of expanding this without the cookies, because what you are usually doing is you are understanding that this user has some age, you have some information, but you need cookies to track them outside of your web page. So what we're doing here, we are creating a way of moving from in-market to in-context, okay? And it's also really useful because we are going to track all the different signals that we can, web signals like what are you reading, in what moment of the day are you reading this, and we are going to see an example just right away where if you are looking to some Dakar experience on a Sunday at 7 o'clock, you are in context to automotive, okay? And in that case, this is the moment where we are going to create a contextual profile of the contextual buyer persona of this user. And we are going to take all these signals and we are going to, again, create a new model that is able to understand every single session that we are seeing in the open web in a country if they are in context enough for a brand. And as you can see in this example, this user is much more in context than someone that, even though he was reading some Dakar experience in the weekend and it click on your ad, but you are going to target this user on a Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. raining where he doesn't want to read about this. He has another momentum. So we are just trying to find this in-context moment for this user. So how does this come with the first-party data? We are going to understand and we are going to see what are the in-context moments of your real users. So we are going to take your first-party data and we are going to expand it. So we are going to understand your users. And whenever we understand them, we are going to expand those users in the open web without the need of a cookie. So first of all, what we are going to do is we are creating the learning phase. So we are going to invest just a little bit of the budget, and we are going to understand those users. We know when they are consuming what, and from there we are going to start building the first in-context buyer persona. When we have this, we will start investing the budget in the users that are similar to the ones that you were already having, trying to avoid those users that you already know and you already have. And then we are going to keep having some budget, just expanding and investing in the new model. So if we bring you a new user to your website, we are going to know that this user is created by us. And from there, we are going to try to understand if this in context was something new that you didn't have or you have it right now. And this is pretty useful because right now in most countries where we are operating, we are seeing that the access you have to user with the consent, with a cookie, and with information about them is around 50%. And we can buy this other 50%. So you can keep using cookies for the strategies that are working for you, but this way you are preparing for the future and you are acquiring new users that are not willing to let you invade their privacy because they are not okay with it. So with this new activation, what we are trying to do is go deeper in the funnel and launching a performance solution that would allow you to acquire new users and grab those users that are coming into your website and let's become the new customers in the future. And that was it. I hope you enjoy it. And if anyone wants to buy the car, now is the moment.
Thank you very much, Grego. Don't think anybody wants to buy a car because I don't have a question concerning a car, but I don't have any other questions. If there are any questions, now is the time to ask them. There's one question.
How do you verify first-party lookalikes?
What do you mean by verifying?
How do you know that you actually reach the people that you want to reach?
So we are using different models depending on what the brand is using in the open web. We are getting prepared. For example, we have connected our own ad exchange to different unified IDs. So at the end, we don't want to find all the users. We just want a base where we can start working with and let the model understand them. So we can use almost everything that you can send us to track those users. And then the moment we find them, we are going to create a collection of different data that then is going to be the ingestion of our models.
Were you able to verify that lookalikes perform better than random audiences?
Yeah, we did. We have been running this on a testing phase for some months now. And the best thing we are seeing is that instead of just buying random in the open web, if you target people that are closer to the encounters you're looking for, the results are much, much better.
Okay, thank you very much. We now have the lunch break. We will continue at 1:30. Thank you very much, Grego, for your keynote.